In my gut, I am completely aghast at what goes on at that place, but I staunchly oppose anything that would correct this situation in law. That was what Janice Compton Carr, head of the Florida Abortion Council, said when the state tried to move in so that they could address clinics like the one where Ellen died. This is Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today is March 6th. And this one, you kind of have to follow along. I'm going to go into a little depth because there are some serious parallels to the Kermit Gosnell case. So first, we are going to start with what happened to Ellen. She was 38 years old, worked for the Dade County, Florida School Board when she learned she was pregnant in early 1995. She and her husband had a 10-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter, and because they didn't want any more children, Ellen decided to have an abortion. Now, she went to Dadeland Family Planning in Miami on March 2nd. On March 4th, Ellen returned with her husband. She was doubled over, rocking back and forth in pain. So Betty Eason, the clinic owner, gave her some tea, settled her in a lounge chair, covered her with a blanket, and called Singh, who arrived 4 hours later. So Singh examined Ellen and then turned her over to Dr. Nabil Ghali. This guy, this shows you people that run abortion clinics just don't seem to vet their doctors. This guy had been run out of another state for molesting children, having sex with his 14-year-old goddaughter, and botching delivery so that the babies died. But hey, dead baby, I guess, good enough to work in an abortion clinic. So at any rate, turned her over to Nabil Ghali. He performed a second D&C and sent Ellen home with a bottle of antibiotics. Eason, who was not a doctor, had taken a blood sample from Ellen, but the laboratory couldn't do a culture on it because Eason had used a contaminated container. Now, at 3:48 p.m. on March 5th, Ellen was rushed by ambulance to Coral Reef Hospital in pain, 105-degree fever. She was rushed into surgery, died in the ICU at 10:25 the next morning, March 6th. The autopsy revealed that she had uterine and bowel perforations, causing the peritonitis that killed her. So basically, they had treated peritonitis with tea and sympathy. Now, Singh told the Miami Herald that he didn't usually work at Dadeland, but he was strapped for cash and agreed to fill in for Robert Cast, their usual doctor, while he was away. Singh described himself as not an abortionist, just an honest, easygoing guy looking for something temporary. Yeah, looking to make a little quick money. So after Ellen's death, Singh quit working at Dadeland, saying it was a bad month. The same day he had performed the abortion on Ellen, he also did an abortion on a woman identified as Patricia W., who afterward hemorrhaged and passed a portion of her fetus, which Singh had failed to remove. When she returned to the clinic, staff told her it was a blood clot, but a hospital later verified that it was a 16-week fetal head. The state did nothing to address Ellen's death. They just kind of sat around with their thumbs up their butts. Come 1989, the Miami Herald decided they were going to do something, and they investigated Dadeland Family Planning. And they found out that just like Gosnell, Dadeland was reusing disposable instruments. The doctors were leaving the facility while the patients were still in recovery, which was kind of the opposite of what Gosnell was doing. He was arriving after everything had started. They were leaving early. There were no nurses on staff, just like Gosnell. Quote, patient recovery was monitored by employees with no formal health care training. Hello, sounds like Kermit Gosnell's staff. The stirrups on the procedure tables were covered with blood. Sounds like Gosnell's clinic. The oxygen mask had lipstick on it from the previous patient, and abortions were being sold to women who only thought they were pregnant. And you have to remember, this is back before you could go down to the drugstore and get home pregnancy kits. So women were trusting. Now, Richard Litt, who had performed abortions at Dadeland until 1981, told the Miami Herald that he'd quit because the owners wanted him to do too many abortions in a single workday wanted him to do abortions too late in the pregnancy. And he also complained that somebody in the clinic stole his prescription pad and forged his signature in order to get narcotics in bulk. Drug dealing! Sounds just like Kermit Gosnell. Litt said that Dadeland is a scumhole. I wouldn't send a dog there. They should be put in jail. Okay? So this is what was going on even before Ellen died. It was that disgusting. It was that disgusting. So, of course, there was a move to try to crack down on seedy abortion clinics. And some National Abortion Federation member clinics banded together to form the Florida Abortion Council. And they were a pretty strong lobbying group. And their representative, Ms. Janice Compton Carr, told the Miami Herald, again, this is about Dadeland. This is about tea and sympathy for a woman with raging peritonitis. This is about stealing a prescription pad and buying bulk narcotics, reusing instruments, selling abortions to women who weren't actually pregnant. This whole 9 yards, this Gosnell-esque clinic. Compton Carr said, and I quote, "In my gut, I am completely aghast at what goes on in that place, but I would staunchly oppose anything that would correct this situation in law." Now, do you have any doubt where their priorities are? Do you have any question in your mind about whether or not, well, just how much did Ellen's life matter to these people? That they didn't want these conditions to be corrected.